respected Your Eminence Cardinal Vincent Gerald Nicholas, Brother Bishops from various countries, dear Minister Unangalin, the Minister for Social Minister, friends from Caritas family and all you participants, good morning. Minglava. Minglava, that's a little difficult to pronounce, but it is very essential in Myanmar to say Minglava. Anytime you can say in the morning up to midnight, you can say Minglava. So we thank Alexander for the logistics, especially the places for the toilets. And there is a mention also that it is a very safe place to pour out your heart's content here. You don't need to keep any secret here in this room. So welcome to this golden land. It is my joyful duty to welcome each one of you as a Myanmar Church, and my responsibility as the President of FABC. We are honored by the presence of our dear Cardinal, His Eminence Nicholas, handpicked by our Pope Francis for a very important mission of the Church. His Eminence is an intellectual giant and an apostle of interreligious initiatives in Great Britain. In fact, we have requested him to preach tomorrow at the conclusion of the Unity Octave here in the Cathedral. Your Eminence presence today brings joy to every heart gathered here. With a sense of a deep fellowship, I welcome my brother bishops from Asia and elsewhere. Asia faces cutting-edge challenges in preventing human trafficking. Your experiences in dealing with this human wound will be a great catalyst in furthering the rights of the least and the lost. A warm welcome to Caritas family. Church is proud of the works of Caritas. The social arm of the Church has proved to be the committed organization that reaches to the remotest corners of the earth. Caritas has risen to face all social challenges. We are greatly honored to have you, Your Eminence, and other dignitaries to our country and to Myanmar Church. This is a small church, just 700,000 faithful all over the country with the 16 dioceses. But we are a vibrant church, a young church. Pope Francis put this church in the margin, in the world map, when he chose to be with us in 2017. I'm happy to see participants from various organizations and religious groups. Human trafficking has emerged as the festering wound of humanity, the mortal sin of the modern times. Our gathering today brings to our mind the symbol of Good Shepherd who goes in search of the least and the lost. This is very important gathering. Our faith journey is dotted with the visceral agony of people forcefully displaced. The sad story of Adam and Eve losing their protection and exposed to a challenging milieu is the first story of the Bible. The story of Exodus is the blistering pain in the history of Jews when they were forced to move to exile and live in a life of slavery. The Old Testament recounts the story of Joseph, who was sold by his own brothers. The biblical plight is enacted in the lives of millions today. Our gathering today is the integral part of our faith journey. Pope Francis has made anti-human trafficking mission his priority. Human trafficking in its multiple forms is a wound in the humanity of those who endure it and those who commit it. The Pope said, addressing the closing session of Vatican Conference in 2019. The IHD Dicastery and the Migration Commission has identified areas where Church would be proactive against human trafficking. They included a commitment by the Church to raise people's awareness of the connection between human trafficking and sexual exploitation in prostitution and pornography, and to make clear the sinful contribution of demand for prostitution and pornography. Participants also pledged to work for laws criminalizing those who buy sex services and those who profit from victims. Church in Asia faces the menace of human trafficking almost in every country. Nearly 65% of human trafficking in the world happens in this region. Vietnam, Cambodia, Philippines, Laos, Myanmar are some of the worst affected countries. Poverty and lack of opportunities make millions to move. FABC, the Federation of Asian Bishop Conferences, have responded by various seminars encouraging various country bishop conferences to respond to this evil. With the Pope, who is deeply concerned about human trafficking, FABC is now on a challenging turf to produce results in protecting the dignity of the migrants and displaced people. This conference is a vital step in arousing the conscience of nations and governments. Bishops of FABC come from countries of origin and destination and at a vantage position to propose regional solutions. The respective Caritas networks have been networking with countries of origin and destination. You are in Myanmar. This is a blessed country with resources. But the people of Myanmar and the Church had traversed their own Exodus era. For the last 6 decades, this country trudged through suffocating dark tunnels of dictatorship, lack of quality education, excruciating poverty, and the deprivation of basic rights. This has resulted in millions of our youth leaving our shores for risky livelihood. An estimated of 5 million people, a tenth of the population, is on the move. Many of these people were trafficked to modern forms of slavery. Some of the prosperous economies of Southeast Asia owe their prosperity to the hard labor of our youth. Thailand, Malaysia, and to some extent Singapore owe their prosperity to the hard labor of our people. Human trafficking is at a very high voltage here. The report on trafficking in the persons TRB places Myanmar in the lowest category of type 3. This nation has around 60% of the population under the age of 30, with no opportunities for higher education and livelihood. Many of our women are commoditized by countries like China, where the gender ratio is an imbalance. The sad plight struggles the dignity of women from countries like Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. This is the festering wound of Southeast Asia. China's insatiable need for women create great challenges to churches. In our own country, the girls in the border towns are exposed to human traffickers, both for marriage and other dark crimes. Slave labor and sexual services are inflicted in our people. They would say, especially in China, give us a baby and we will let you go. Chinese families often are interested in having a baby rather than a bride. Church responded through establishing an anti-human trafficking sector in our National Caritas office. Religious congregations like the Good Shepherd, where we have visited yesterday, are spearheading the awareness and advocacy work. Talitha Kum, the international inter-congregational organization, is active in Myanmar, carrying the work through nearly 2,000 religious in the country. Every diocese has taken effort to sensitize the youth about the evils of trafficking. Myanmar Church regularly links with the churches in Thailand, Malaysia and Singapore in pastoral care for the migrants. This is a long journey. I'm very glad that the Santa Martha Forum has been the forefront of mainstreaming the awareness and commitment to our work. Our deep, sincere gratitude to His Eminence, Cardinal Nicholas, and his team. It is a fortunate moment when the Church in Myanmar could hear from experts like Your Eminence and other experts. At the FABC level, this issue has been receiving strong response, and I do hope your presence will intensify our efforts. Thanks for your accompaniment in our journey. God bless our efforts on behalf of those who are least and the lost, and the thousands who are trafficked regularly. I wish the conference all the best in your deliberations. Our combined efforts will bring light to the lives of millions in this region. May God, the Lord, be our guide. Thank you very much.